I would say that I'm very much excited to be at Oxford University, the best university in the world. Literally to share some of the ideas that I literally believe in, that I believe in the four major sustainable development goals, but there are three. The fourth one of quality education, the fifth one which speaks about gender equality, and then the sixth one which speaks about clean water and sanitation. And that's where actually the composition of the Keep a Girl Child in School project comes from. I was just blessed that I was from a poor school, and my parents struggled to put me at a secondary school, literally which was a little better than the school where I was in the rural area. And I managed to get a government scholarship to go to Makerere University. And midway of my course at Makerere University, I went back to my community, and I was very much shocked when I met one of my friends in primary who was a very good person in class. She was always among the best. And literally, personally, I was like in the positions of 10, 20, all that in the class, because we have big classes of 100 pupils. And I was very much shocked that Gloria had 3 children, and literally she had not moved past actually her senior 2. And literally I was wondering what are the major factors that made her to stay out of school and go in for early marriage and have 3 children at the age which is, which you can't imagine that actually she is struggling right now even to buy them what to eat. And literally, she told me that, Isaac, there are aspects that you may not understand, but as time went on, as I was progressing in my primary, when you left school, I started actually declining. And it was literally because I remained at home most of the time. I was like, oh, and what was the reason? And she told me, these things, we grow up. And literally, I knew what she was meaning, because in our community, people think that menstruation is something that should be considered silent and not talked about. And that's the breaking of the silence that I came up with and said, I think we should address one of these greatest aspects which has kept many people in such a situation. And literally, I believe that if a lot had been done, Gloria would be one of the experts, maybe like Winnie Anima, who is heading Oxfam here at Oxford University, because she was very sharp. And this moved me to think about how best I can work closely to support, the girls in my community to stay in school. And that's when I thought very well, and one of my friends told me, Isaac, you can give a shot and work closely with a doctor who has innovated one of the greatest products. Because my idea was, how can I come up with a product that can support the girls with a very cheap material to use? Because in our community, girls in messes are using mostly the rugs in the rural areas, and literally some of them are using newspapers. And you may ask me how they do this, even with the leaves, but there is a way they modify them and they use them. And literally, most of them would prefer to stay at home rather than to go at school, because they are not sure how it may end up, because they may end up soiling their clothes, and the experience they have with some of the girls who have soiled their clothes from school is the laughing from fellow students, from the boys most especially, at a time when you expect they should be appreciating you. And literally this pushes you even to stay at home more. So Dr. Msaz is the gentleman who is just, you will see maybe later on, but this is how actually, this is the marker parts that we give to the girls. They are 95% biodegradable, and literally they are chemical free, and they are made by 240 women. And literally it is also something that works in a conjunction of supporting the community, and literally, and most of the women by creating employment, because we believe in Uganda that, if we can have many women accessing education, then at the end of the day, our country will develop very fast. and reach the levels of sustainable development that we are all looking up to. So literally, why maybe someone will ask me, probably why focus on menstrual hygiene and link it to keeping girls in school? In Africa, and mostly sub-Saharan Africa, we have got actually the highest dropout rates. Literally, they didn't reduce between 1999 and 2009. Instead of reducing from 40 below, they increased to 42%. And in Uganda, it is even worse. We have 68% of the children who enroll in primary. That's literally over 4 million children who enroll in primary, dropping out. 68% is so huge. And literally, this is linked directly to even when you look at how much of the time that the girls are losing in school. Because UNESCO came up with that report and I was really shocked. Actually, when you look at the percentage, girls are missing 11% of their school time. And this is something that is so huge that even at times, during the periods that they are missing, exams are going on, and probably a new topic is being addressed, and at the end of the day, this girl cannot literally move to the next class. They will be forced either to repeat or to just give up with their education. And this is something that we are thinking of, how best can we work on. So our mission as the Keep a Girl Child in School project is majorly to make sure that we reduce the high rates of dropout in Uganda, and literally also be able to provide the sanitary towels free of charge to these girls, because they are coming from families where literally actually they are feeding on less than $1. And you can't tell these families that prioritize sanitary towels. They will tell you we can use rags, but when girls put on rags, they remain at home. So literally the major factor here is how can we best keep them in school with the cheapest product possible. And Makerere is the cheapest sanitary towel in Uganda. This will actually costing just a little more than half of the cost of the other sanitary towels in the market. And also we look at how best we can improve the menstrual education and reproductive health, because literally a lot of this information is taught to the children, but most of the time they teach them in secrecy, where the boys are taught differently from the girls. And which I believe that if this information is taught together and also in a model whereby the teachers and the community are working closely to educate about this, then we can create more sustainability, where we are breaking the silence and we are creating a also the social acceptance of menstruation, because it's part of life, it is what brings us to earth. And literally, if it is looked at in that direction, we can have our community changed. And we have faced a lot of challenges with girls who think and who believe, and even men who think that actually menstruation is something we should not talk about in public. And literally, personally, I've been enabled to be less a man to come and pioneer on such a project. But I believe that at the end of the day, it is what we believe in to transform the community that matters most, or not actually what some of the maybe the things that have failed our community to be focused on. And literally, our project, we have been continuously out there since June last year to 2 schools in Jinja district, and those schools are having over 600 girls, and literally 1 school in the peri-urban part of Kampala, where most of the girls are coming from the slum areas. And literally, our target is to see that we can reach at least 15,000 girls in over 50 schools. This will help us to create individuals who can go out there and pioneer. After 10 years, after 20 years, they can speak the same language that one person, Isaac, is talking right now. I have a team of 3 people, but literally that is in Uganda, and we are trying to gather and see how best we can recruit different volunteers. Literally from the Ugandan side, we have got quite many individuals, like from Oxford, where we have a team that is coordinating on how best we can make this a sustainable program. It is led by Alexandra. And literally, we are trying to see, there is a group that actually we met and gave us quite good information about how we can go about this and keep the discussion going, and that's sex expression. And we believe that some of the information they use to teach in the schools in the UK, we can try to localize it, and it works for the children in our community in Uganda. So literally, the empowering and training of the local women and teachers will also help us in a way that at the end of the day, we can have these people continuously talking about this, and we realize that there are other things that are linked to menstrual hygiene that we cannot address, like if a girl is experiencing pains and cramps, it will need the responsibility of the community, like the community nurses, like the leaders in the community, to try and empower this. There are also some areas like in northern Uganda where people think that if a girl is outside there in the community and experiences menses, they have reached their level of marriage. So all these things need us to work closely with the community. So in our old model of sustainability, we realize that we have to track and relate keeping girls in school with menstrual hygiene. So we give the schools registers, and also we give girls the booklet which has some information about puberty and menstrual hygiene, and also pages where they can record monthly days where they have missed their menses. So when we go back to the schools after a period, which we have measured that at least when a term has ended, we have 3 terms, we can always discuss with the girls and see if actually what we are doing is impacting on their education and how best to improve. So we are having a team from Oxford which is helping us in the data analysis, in actually how to make a sustainable model, and also helping us in the data collection. We are excited that actually they collected over 7 laptops to help us in the data collection. It has been one of the challenges we have been facing, that literally you have one laptop and you cannot go around with it in the different schools to really get some information on board. So if you would love to get in partnership with us or to volunteer, as the trip has been talked about, also we have a team here that is working on such a project, where you can check on the OxMak page and literally also check out our page of Keep a Girl Child in School and track to see how the events are going in Uganda. And you can always provide your expertise in whatsoever way. And we are always outside there trying to do our best to look for people who can support. Like we have the Indian Women Association of Uganda, which has committed to support one school at least for a year. So we are always moving around to see which individuals can literally are interested in actually seeing the cause of keeping the girls in school as a key aspect. And literally you can also be in touch with me directly, or the head of the team of Oxford, who is Alexandra, and we shall be excited to receive any of you when interested in Uganda in August. And literally we had like Katie, she came to one of the schools and interacted with some of the girls, and those experiences are enormous, and literally they can help us to transform the world.
And then they will have a total income, like a net income of roughly £17